So I would say one of the biggest myths that is touted quite actively, especially in the e-commerce digital entrepreneurship space, is the idea of hustle. And the idea that if you hustle, hustling directly equates to results. And to be honest, that's just flat out not true. And I'm kind of going to unpack this and tell you why if you give me a second. So I don't think this is happening through ill intent. I do think some people, let's say, exasperate the problem because all they do is tell you that you need to hustle. There's many prominent figures who have, big social media followings, have lots of people, looking at them, lots of eyeballs, and they really, really put this idea out that in order to be successful, all you have to do is hustle. And I think that's really not correct. I'll explain why. But yeah, I don't think they do it on purpose when I think about it. I don't think it's a purposeful thing. I just think because they're very limited in their scope and because they don't really know the real ingredients that got them there, they lean on the fact of hustling being important. I think they lean on that a lot. And I really just think that in and of itself is a mistake, because the biggest issue with hustle culture, let's call it hustle culture, because it is a culture. It is something that is deeply rooted, and you really can't find anybody out there who's preaching anything that doesn't talk about hustling. But I think the problem is we've got a culture that says hustling is good, but they've really blended or put together working hard and hustling in the same thing, because they're not the same thing. Working hard and working smart is very different to hustling. And the problem with hustling is that hustling comes with a thing called diminishing returns, which means for every unit of effort you put in, over time, as your business grows, especially if you want to get to making multiple 7 figures, multiple 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures, that's kind of the goal me and my team are aiming for. But even if you're not aiming even that high, if you're looking to make multiple 7 figures, you're going to hit what's called diminishing returns, because there's only so much you can do. There's only so far you can push things. Like, one thing I struggled with a lot, especially at the start of my business, before I really graduated to the different levels, and I'll talk about this in another video, which I believe are the 4 tiers of e-commerce success. Before I graduated to, the next tier up, I would be very concerned that no one can do things in my business better than me. I would really want to do as much as I could because I didn't want to relinquish control. And once I realized that hustling can only get me so far, and that's what I kind of say, like, the people who are very prevalent with this message, I don't think they do it on purpose, but they don't juxtapose it, I think, with the message that they should be juxtaposing it with, which is hustling is great, but you need to hustle at different levels as you make more money, as you ascend up the entrepreneurial scale. Hustle, in the general sense of the word, how people use it is do everything yourself, work really, really hard, keep pushing until you break through. When really, they should be telling you a lot about sophistication, the way you hustle, the sophisticatedness of the people who are at the very top. I work flat out every day. That's what I'm saying. Hard work isn't what I'm telling you not to do. You should work hard. But the way you apply your hustle in a very sophisticated manner is the difference between someone who will make multiple 6 figures or maybe break into early 7 figures. That's very different compared to what and who you're going to be when you're breaking into multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, multiple 8 figures, 9 figures. If you're going to get to there, your hustle has to be on a completely different level of sophistication. I really can't stress this enough. Who you are when you're making a couple 100,000 a year is very different than who you're going to be when you're making $1 million a year. And that's going to be very, very different to when you're making, let's say, 6 or 7 million a year, and so on and so forth. The person, and I'm just saying this because I noticed this myself, the person I am, doing 20, 30 million a year now is very different to the person I was when I was even doing 3 to 4 million. And it's very different compared to the person I was when I was doing 3 to 400 grand. So yeah, and it's not that you work less. No, you work just as hard, maybe even more, but the way you work, the sophistication of how you work is what changes, I think, as you go up the tiers of e-commerce success. Let's just quickly go back as well and talk about this thing about diminishing returns, because diminishing returns actually accelerate the more you go past your, let's say, level of peak performance. Because when diminishing returns accelerate, that's when wheels tend to fall off businesses. One of the things that I experience, and again, this is all talking from experience, I'm not trying to sit on my high horse here. Trust me, I've made every mistake under the sun, right? Literally. So the way I see it is, when I look back at my failures and when the wheels fell off for me, it really happened actually quite soon after I had huge success. So I'd have, let's say I'm at one of the lower tiers of the e-commerce ladder. There's 4, like I said. And then once I've made that peak at the bottom level and I'm ready to go to the next level, when I then take that leap into the next level, the wheels tend to fall off and I take 2 steps back before I can take 1 step forward again. And then I learn all the mistakes I made when I got to the next level. Then it would happen again. I'd go to the third level, the wheels would fall off, drop back into the second level, fix everything, and then get into the third level or the next level the right way. So you have to understand, diminishing returns actually accelerate over time. Your level of effort versus your level of reward is not a direct one-to-one correlation. It's not. That's why the whole concept of hustle culture, I think, is very, because it's not juxtaposed with sophistication, I think the message is actually very, I wouldn't say dangerous, but it does leave a lot to be desired when it looks at the truth of success, especially when it comes to what we do in e-commerce. So I just really want you to understand that point. And really the key to unlocking that, if you want to get to the next level, if you want to break through the next tiers of e-commerce success, really the key to it is time. Because people really underestimate the understanding of maximizing or multiplying your time. Being able to do that, which is the engine of sophistication you need to go to the next level. So you still want to work hard, you still want to hustle hard, right? But you want to do it in a sophisticated way. And the engine of that sophistication, like I said, is time management and multiplying your time by building a team of highly motivated, highly skilled, fully aligned people who believe in the mission and the vision of your business, of your brands, of what you're trying to achieve, which is hard, especially since everyone lives in a million different places. The beauty of the thing that we do in e-commerce is the fact that you can build a phenomenal team from people all over the world. In our team, we have a very diverse group of people. We have lots of, pretty much, we're actually quite dominated by women in our company. Actually, we have way more girls than guys. But we have people who are American, English, Eastern European, Filipino, Indian. We have people from all over the globe working in our business, and we've got around 20 at the minute. As of recording this, and I'm sure that over the years we're going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So being able to multiply my time through them was a massive thing that took me to the next level. But obviously it's very, very hard. Okay, how do you get all these people aligned, pointing in the same direction, waking up every morning fully motivated to give their all for the business? That, is a very hard skill in and of itself to learn. And this is part of the sophistication you're going to need to go to the next level to match your hustle culture. So that's one thing I would say, along with having excellent systems, processes, SOPs, they all go hand in hand together. So I think that really is the key to matching your hustle and upgrading it to be sophisticated, is knowing the value of time and being able to multiply it. Because let's not forget, you're not getting out of life alive, right? So time is the only true valuable thing. Yes, we can go after money, and money and wealth is great. I love it. I wouldn't be the way I am if I didn't. But I do truly understand that the only thing that really is valuable, that we can never get back, we can't buy more, we can't spend more, we can't trade it. Time is always diminishing. So it's actually the only true value. So knowing how to multiply that is the key to your success. And one thing I would say to end very quickly on this is one book that's phenomenal, and I'm sure you've heard it from a million different places. I think it's one of the greatest books ever written by a human being, to be honest, which is Ray Dalio's Principles. It's a phenomenal book, right? And that's one of the things he talks about a lot, is being able to multiply yourself, multiply your time through your team and the people around you. And when you actually do it on a sophisticated level, then there are actual tangible numbers. There are real numbers, real metrics you can put behind this multiplication of time and really calculate what the level of efficiency and advocacy is in your business compared to what you're trying to achieve. There's an exercise that I actually do quite regularly, which is actually doing time mapping. In our company, we actually map everybody's time really accurately. And when you first start the time mapping, F me, it really is terrible when you see how ineffective and inefficient your whole team are. Especially the more people you have, the more the inefficiency, exponentially expands outwards. But once you then map the time and you have a very conscious idea of how time mapping works and you focus on that, that is the way for you to take your hustle, channel it in a very sophisticated way, to then maximize, how things work in your business. So yeah, that's my take on why hustle culture is really missing the juxtaposition, which is sophistication, and using time management, multiplying your time. That's really the key to going to really any level that's high when it comes to business in general and specifically e-commerce.